So it's no surprise when I make this statement, I'm sure for most of you out there. We have known for quite some time there has been a lot of wasted cash, and I mean our money, during the COVID-19 pandemic. But now we're getting some more numbers. My next guest tonight is the CEO of openthebooks.com, which has been looking into the PPP loans that were used during the shutdowns. Now, some folks needed that cash because let's be real, when you had tyrants like Gavin Newsom and Whitmer and Hochul locking your business down, and that was your bread and butter, yeah, the government bailing you out because the government shut you down and ruined your business, I didn't have a problem with that, even though I'm against bailouts. But when you had people take advantage of the system and milk it and take possibly millions of our tax money, and they were still working, I got a problem with it. Paycheck Protection Program loans. Those were the PPP. Those were created during COVID, again, to help the small and medium businesses, not big, huge corporations, to try and keep their employees on payroll and keep families paid so they could put food on the table during that 2 years of nonsense. However, it's been found that many of the medium to larger businesses and even some of the politicians abuse the program. You don't say. Let's take a look at some numbers, shall we? Again, thanks to our friends at openthebooks.com. Here's some stats for you that'll make your stomach turn. 126 of the 300 biggest law firms around in the country took $809 million in forgivable COVID aid through the Small Business Administrative Program. So that's almost $1 billion of our money. 237 of the top 300 accounting firms took PPO loans. How much? $625 million. So over half a bill. Keep adding all this up. The David Boies law firm, one of the Democrats' top legal advisors for state and national offices, took $10.14 million. Ernst & Young, a firm with over 365, is that right? 365,000 employees, took millions of dollars, even though they had a multi-billion-dollar revenue stream that was still coming in and actually grew because court cases were happening. They did them remotely, right? On laptops through Zoom and Skype. What do you need all that damn money for? We know that these PPP loans, were used for more than just payroll to help the employees. 35.9 million of that cash, just mentioned, got used for utilities. Some for rent, some for health care, some for interest on mortgages. Again, to keep businesses open when you were forced to shut down, I don't have a problem with. And to help out the employees and their families. But when you're growing your business and making more money because you were still open for business, you shouldn't be taking the loans. It's insane. Here now with more on what they've uncovered, the founder and CEO of openthebooks.com, our pal Adam Andrzejewski. Adam, thank you, first and foremost, for digging into the numbers for us. And I'm sure you have a lot more to share with our fans and viewers here, besides these law firms and accounting firms. But let's just begin with the lawyers, because, no offense, I'm sure we have some loyal viewers that are lawyers. Don't get mad at me. You love them when you need one, but when I see this, I hate them when I don't need one. So, am I wrong? Didn't the judicial system, maybe not the first few months, but it opened up and court cases were still going on and attorneys were able to do their job and charge their $750 to $1,000 an hour during COVID. So why would they need all of our damn money?
Well, Dan, they didn't need our money. They didn't need taxpayer help. In our report, we detail the fact that the revenues actually in many of these law firms, they grew. They were having record revenue years, and their partners, they were cleaning off millions of dollars worth of partner profit bonus checks on top of their salaries during 2020 and 2021. And I want to give you an example of this. David Boies, he heads up the Boies Schiller Flexner law firm down in Boca Raton, Florida. They're the top Democratic law firm in the country. During the pandemic, 2020 and 2021, they actually billed nearly $500 million of revenues, $480 million. They didn't need taxpayer help.
Whoa.
Their partners cleaned off nearly $4 million in those 2 years combined of firm profits. Out of 20,000 law firms across the country that received a forgiven PPP loan in our data at openthebooks.com, the Boies law firm was the number one recipient of PPP money at $10.14 million. You and I, we paid for that and everybody watching the program.
I'm going to piss a lot of people off and send them into a bad mood on a Friday. I don't like doing that, Adam. But I'm stewing over here and I'm going, oh. So, at least 40 million of the 70 billion we sent to Ukraine went through some crooked-ass crypto company and came back to help elect Democrats in their campaigns. Now you're telling me one of the top Democrat lawyers took money they didn't need of my tax money in this COVID crap, and they represent Democrats in their campaigns.
Well, and
right?
It's a little bit worse than that. We also show that $1 million during the election cycles of 2020 and 2022 from this law firm, the David Boies law firm, the partners, the employees of the firm, not the firm itself, but $1 million went on federal campaign donations to candidates. So the employees of the firm recycled $1 million back into federal races.
Of course they did. Right. So again, my tax money, just in a different way to filter their dark money, went to their campaigns. So either it went to Ukraine and came back, or it went to a lawyer in Boca and came back. What the?
Yeah, and the accounting firms, look, the accounting firms were no better. So basically 2 out of every 3 accounting firms that are in the top 300 in the country, they took a forgiven PPP loan. And those loans were big also. They averaged $2.6 million a piece. So you got like Witham Smith, they're the 22nd largest accounting firm in the country. Mm-hmm. They did very well during the pandemic. They nearly doubled their revenues. In 2019, they had $200 million worth of revenues. And by 2021, they're disclosing over $400 million worth of revenues. They billed $1 billion between 2019 and 2021. Again, they didn't need taxpayer help, but they cashed a $10 million forgiven.
Where the hell
PPP
was the oversight? And let's take it one step further, because I'm not going to go back in time. It won't fix anything. With what you've uncovered, have any Republican leaders, since they control the House now, contacted you? Because they keep saying they're going to investigate all kinds of stuff when they take over next year. I would hope this is one of the things they're going to investigate, is the COVID fraud. That's what it is. Let's call it what it is, fraud. So you can turn this over to them, and they could go after these people to provide receipts to prove they needed this money. And if they didn't, make their asses pay it back.
So you can come to openthebooks.com. You can read the entire report. And I'm hopeful and optimistic Congress will hold hearings on this.
Okay.
This should be a bipartisan issue. You've got the wealthy and most successful big law and big accounting firms in the country basically crushing a COVID aid, pandemic aid program at the federal level for $1.4 billion of our money. With virtually little to no need for the cash. They treated the federal COVID aid program like their own cash cow.
Of course they did. While small businesses, mom and pops, were struggling, even if they did get, because I've got friends that got shut down, even if they did get the PPP loans to get them through that first year in 20, maybe into 21, but if they lived in a liberal state where they had tyrants still locking them down like California, Michigan, and elsewhere, some of them lost their businesses entirely because the cash just wasn't enough to keep them afloat. And those are the folks who really took a hit. Then you tell me about these millionaire billionaires who can't, I'm just so out of time, Adam. Thank you. God bless you for what you and your crew are doing at openthebooks.com. Adam Andrzejewski, he's the CEO and founder. So thank him, because he's tracking our money. Now I just hope that the Republicans do something with this information come next year. God bless you, Adam. Take care.
God bless you, Dan.
Yep.